Welcome to the podcast. My name is Dr. Millennial, and I like sucking dick.
I'm Dorian.
This is Dick Valentine, and the new number one guy. We got rid of him, right?
Yeah, he's trash.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the start of the new year, and we're gonna go over R.Kelly, and we were given the green light by Dr. Millennial.
Do you have anywhere I could pee? I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Okay, what about that bucket over there? I took a shit in that one to the left.
Can I just pee on you though?
You can't pee on me.
Okay,
that's fine. But like, I'm not gonna go out the way though. Like, I'll probably just like stay stationed and then just take it for a little bit.
So I might want to videotape it too.
Yeah. So you could like pee half on me and then half in the bucket.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, but when you say it, like, make sure you say your full name, your date of birth, your occupation, and then you can do it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
So R. Kelly, what do you think about that? And we're basing this off of the wonderful live series that they had with what was that broad's name?
I know Charlemagne was on it.
It was a ton of people. His ex-wife.
This lady
victims.
named Sparkle.
Sparkle.
A bunch of victims. Pretty crazy stuff.
So now the question that everyone's going to be asking, I guess, is why didn't R. Kelly get caught earlier? Because if you looked at, based on the documentary and other court cases with him, he's been getting busy in terms of sexual abuse and all these allegations since '91. So basically, since he got on the scene and got money.
Here's the thing. I think that when you're in a position of power, like R. Kelly is, he's rich, he's talented, you can get away with a lot of things. I mean, he's not the first celebrity to just, get with a younger girl and, have the public turn a blind eye. I mean, Elvis, they said in the documentary.
Oh, yeah, Elvis.
He was dating someone that was a teen.
Harvey Weinstein with his sexual abuse.
Yeah,
Cosby. But what's actually interesting was there was evidence, right? There was evidence. Without question, we see this is R. Kelly. We see that this is the man in this tape that's urinating in the mouth of a 15-year-old child. Right? Mm-hmm. Why didn't that point, and this was in 2002 when these video sex tapes came out, why didn't he get arrested back then? As a matter of fact, some could say his career even took off more past that.
And yeah, for sure. They did say like, oh, it's because the girls were, African American, and that could be true. We don't know if he's, did anything with any Caucasian girls. Yeah. But I think that maybe had something to do with it.
Oh, do you think probably race came into play with this?
Yeah, and even the label didn't even want to drop him because he was just way too profitable. Maybe they bribed the law enforcement. I don't know. And
it does bring the question where I know people are going to say, hey, they bring race into everything. That's what the way everyone fucking talks about. But I mean, facts are facts. If you look at all those girls on those tapes, they were young black girls.
Yeah. Yep.
And anyone who thinks that that's like an outlandish claim, it's true. It's a fact. Show me one of those tapes or one allegation where one girl was white. And I personally believe, I do agree with that, where if it was one white young female girl in that mix, I think they would have clamped down a lot faster.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And another thing that I want to ask is, do you think the black community as a whole, do you think we're complicit in allowing horrible behavior like this?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like there's always that joke. I don't know. There's always those memes. It's like, oh, my uncle touched me and shit. It's just like there's some truth in that joke because it's like, oh, you have these. Your family members touching you and stuff, we're just so quick to forgive. It's just how black people are. Just kind of, there's God and you could go to church and your sins are forgiven.
And it's interesting you bring religion into this because based on the way they did a chronological order, he almost positioned himself in a way where people had that pity party. I mean, it wasn't even just in the black community. It was just everywhere. He would come up with Bump and Grind, all these like really explicit sexual songs. But then he'll drop something like, I wish. Yeah. I wish. And it's like, church is singing that. Everywhere in the country. And that is a spiritual, oh my God, R. Kelly would never do this. And then they'll see a videotape. Oh, well, it was probably R. Kelly's brother, like his lawyer said. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fucked up. Where the fact that his brother, he tried to pin this on him.
It's pretty messed up.
How fucked up is that? He could have came out and said, it's not me or my brother. It's just it must be another guy. Even if it's like a stupid ass claim like that, that's not true when it's him. You stayed silent when your lawyer threw your brother under the bus.
That's a textbook narcissist right there.
Oh yeah, And then he comes and then he's like expects people to, like, feel bad, and you just pretty much see the victims, like, their backstories and like their sadness throughout the whole like series of living with R. Kelly, or surviving R. Kelly. I'm sorry. So my question is, and it goes back again: do we blame R. Kelly, or do we blame other outside sources? And what I mean by that is, R. Kelly couldn't read. And what's an interesting point that caught my attention is, how was he booking flights, doing all these other activities where it took planning, bookings, all this to bring all these little girls or all these young girls to his studio sessions? He had a team around him, surrounding him, allowing this behavior to manifest itself and move forward.
They didn't have Siri back then. There's no way he could have, booked those flights himself.
Mm-hmm.
But, definitely... No, it's terrible. It's just,
and the parents.
Yeah, the parent. Like, I don't think that it's only. I mean, definitely R. Kelly is obviously the main perpetrator of this. He is to blame, but the parents definitely knew. Like, if I had a kid, and it was like, oh, I could definitely take you to stardom. This celebrity comes up to me and is like, oh, I could take you to stardom. I'm not gonna go to R. Kelly. Like, it's just stupid. Like, it's an easy ticket to get some fame, but at the same time, I know he's gonna be touching my daughter. It's just
And I understand this, where if his career, let's say, started in like 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he came out if a sexual allegation with a kid came out in 95, right? 94. Okay, his 3 years in his career, shit happens. No one knows about this. These, like, 2003, 2005, even up to now, 2017, 18, 19. Like, how are you going to sit here and say with a straight face? And then you see these parents, oh my God, my daughter's missing. Your daughter was missing 3 years. It's 2019 now. In 2016, you sent her. So there's 16 years, if not more, of sexual predators with R. Kelly in known cases and videotapes and documentation. And you decide to send her?
Part of me thinks that there's a chance that maybe the parents did try to rescue their daughters, but R. Kelly probably started something up like, oh, I'll pay you this amount of money every month or every year to not do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And just when shit started hitting the fan, that's when they're like, oh, that's when the parents are like, oh, why we're not gonna let R. Kelly take our daughter and do whatever he wants with her. We're gonna try to get her back. Mm-hmm. Only when the public eye was on the whole case is when they were like, oh, we're gonna try to do something about it. That's what I think.
Oh, and I kind of agree with that. So basically, they were silent bystanders in the whole thing because they were
getting some
type of compensation. And I do believe that. I do agree with that 100%. Because even for his court cases, you see these 16, 17-year-old girls coming out and settling with non-disclosure agreements, $200,000, $250,000. Where's that money going?
Because they can't use it.
They can't use it. They're minors. Mm-hmm. You can't use that money. You're not 18.
It's the parents. It's the family. That's what I think.
Yeah. So I think the way the documentary, it really doesn't, it shows a pity party with the parents. And that's the one thing that I will knock for it. It's like, oh, these parents, and you do feel bad. Genuinely, you do feel bad. Like, I don't have kids, but shit, if I saw this, the way after I saw this, I'm like, you feel bad. But then I'm just thinking, I'm like, you've known ahead of time. Yeah. How are you, R. Kelly is, I don't care who you are in this country, even if you don't listen to his music, R. Kelly sang at the fucking Olympics. Every family member in every household, doesn't matter if you're American, if you're an immigrant, everyone fucking knows R. Kelly.
Yeah.
That is a fucking fact. They sat there knowing and saying, and I think one of the victims was like, oh, we're going to send our child half across the country to one of his studios, to his manager. We're going to trust him with his manager. And yeah, that's it. I'm like, wait a minute. So the manager you might have bumped in once or twice with R. Kelly, you're going to trust your daughter, your 15-year-old daughter with him?
Yeah, these parents are essentially pimping out their children.
Yeah. It's a pimp system. There's no way anyone can sit here and say, oh, it's not a pimp system. Yeah. It is. Yeah. And it's kind of sad. And I just feel throughout the whole thing, you just feel bad for the girls because they're young girls, impressionable. You see a young celebrity, good looking guy, money. They're like, oh, he's famous. That's cool. And, he was doing like all this sexual deviancy and like just all this other weird shit, like urinating, and then all these weird fetishes he's had, like calling me daddy. And then what's even messed up about the whole thing was when they were like, oh, stay in a single file line and that's it. Like, you know, don't look at each other. And that he was talking to all his girlfriends. You do not have contact with your family or especially any other male. Like, if it's one of his 16 people that he was like seeing girlfriends talk to another guy, he'd hit him.
Yeah. They had strict rules. They were psychologically broken down.
Oh yeah, almost like an animal.
Yeah, to the point where it's like, oh, I don't want to leave him. I can't leave him. They had too much dependency on him because he had that allure of he's rich and famous, and you know maybe this would go somewhere. But
what do you think about the wife? Because he had a wife for I think 15 years that they showed. Dre, I believe her name was.
I don't remember her name.
What's your opinion on that? Do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think she's telling the truth when she says she didn't know this situation that was going on?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. She had to have known that something. Like, how do you?
With all those allegations, I believe he was probably, and this is my thing. I think she knew, but she's just too embarrassed to admit this.
Exactly.
And she has already 2-3 kids with him, and she's like, "Well, what am I going to do?"
Exactly.
And she filled out an abuse line, and this is one thing I can't stand when people are like, "Oh, you know, how are you going to feel bad for her? You know, she's complicit in all this and da-da-da." But this is the thing. When you're an abuse victim, she went on the abuse hotline, filled out 17 questions, and 15 out of the 17 questions was basically like, are these...
And only 2 of them, yeah.
So 15 out of 17 for abuse questions, like, are you abused, was answered.
Mm.
And that's when she realized, like, fuck me. Like, I'm, like, literally in an abusive relationship. Because, like, she just psychologically got broken down over the years where, I mean, even when he brought other women to his house downstairs, she would come downstairs, knock, and he would be like, oh, you know, what do you need? Oh, can I get food? I just want to come food. Is that cool? Yeah, that's fine. You have to ask him permission to eat? So that's the one thing I will disagree with people where agree and disagree. Like, I agree she did know some parts of it, but I have to disagree in that she's like a willing party factor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, she was just mentally and physically broken over the years. But yeah, that's pretty much the wrap up for this. I think moving forward, do you think he will actually get arrested to wrap this up?
Well, they just started a criminal investigation yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, but do you think it will actually fall through? Because there's been multiple criminal investigations. Like, we reach a point where, okay, here's a criminal investigation. This is what we're doing with R.Kelly, and nothing happens. Like, to the point where there was an actual videotape of him urinating on something. How he got away with that was just, it's still beyond me.
In this day and age, I think there's a chance he might get, just because this Me Too movement is honestly just deleting all these prominent men and some women, believe it or not, you know, from the entertainment industry. So I think there's definitely a chance.
There's a chance, you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So, so you're gonna pee on me now, or you're gonna?
I'll think about it. I gotta see how this case pans out first before I do it.
But make sure you say your name first.
Yeah, of course.
That's so funny because the reason I bring this up as a joke was
in the background.
Yeah, remember Boondocks? That one episode where it was like, you know, the white lawyer, he was looking at R.Kelly. That videotape speaks no volume. And then after that, you just see him like starting to urinate, and then he starts adjusting the camera. You see his face. He's like, well, even though you see his face, that proves nothing. And then after he's just like picking up the phone. Hi, this is Robert R.Kelly. Dude, and after all that, he's like, my client's innocent. And it's funny because the Boondocks kind of like shone light on this, where how like people just decide to ignore him.
Oh yeah,
and his behavior.
Yeah,
and they called it out. And I know the documentary was like, well, Boondocks made it a joke. That I definitely disagree with. I think if anything, the writer is such a genius and ahead of his time.
Dude, in the video, his name was called out. Like the phone was ringing. Like, hey, R.Kelly, the phone's ringing.
Yeah, and then in the documentary, they're like, the Boondocks episode made it a joke, so that's why the victims really weren't taken serious. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. If anything, he was the one with the balls to say, I'm gonna add this in my show. In 2006, 2007, when R.Kelly was still kind of hot a little bit. So anyone that's gonna sit there and say like, oh no, the writer for Boondocks, you know, he was horrible for. Basically, that's what they're implying in the documentary. I have to disagree with that 100%. Like it was a joke and light humor, but it's the truth. Because why nothing happened? I don't know. Just thinking about it now, like, it's really fucking crazy, right? He did all. I think his name's Aaron for the Boondocks, but it's crazy though. But
that's hilarious. That is too funny.
So our last note here: people, please don't pee on anyone. If you do pee on someone,
make sure they're of age.
And
consenting. So that's not cool.
That's not cool at all.
At all. You don't want to piss them off. I had to say that.